Yeah! Welcome back, everyone, to another Lauren and Tom Top 5 list.
Hello, all. Hello, Tom.
Hey, Lauren.
And hello, neighbors who now know that we're recording.
Yeah, at 8 in the morning.
Yeah, a little bit thumpy.
We're starting off bright and early for everyone today.
Everybody needs a little rage in the morning, right?
So, today we're here to talk about our favorite PlayStation games.
PlayStation 1.
Yeah. So, I had to do a lot of erasing on this one. Yeah. I had like 30 games written down. I was like, phew.
I'm pretty sure that Tom is going to request we have a part 2 to this.
I might have to, because I felt like a lot of games were unjustifiably taken off this list.
So what are we going to do? Part 2 Redux, or are we going to do top 10?
Yeah. It will be PS1 Mini.
Yeah, oh god, no. But no, the honestly, it's an iconic console.
Yeah, there's thousands of games on this one.
There was a legitimate shift in the attitude towards gaming, and this console is the reason for it, so it's only fair that this was a very difficult list to make.
Yeah, it was difficult.
Yeah.
And I'm happy that we'll have a part 2. That being said, I do have 2 honorable mentions.
So do I.
Oh, would you like to start us off today?
Sure.
Okay,
well, honestly, this should be on everybody's honorable mention. The startup fucking sound. Put it in right here. Now, everybody, come on, man. How can that not make the list? Like, it's still the best startup sound of any console. I don't care. The way that hit, especially if you had, like, your PlayStation hooked up to a sound system.
Yeah.
And, like, you had a sub, you're just like, oh, done. But no, my real honorable mention, and I'm sorry, everybody, right off the bat, it's Final Fantasy VII.
Really?
Yeah. Look.
Being an RPG guy, you think that would have made it a bit higher on the list.
Brother, it's not even the best role-playing game on the system. It's not even the best Final Fantasy on the system.
But let's be honest, it's a long Final Fantasy, eh?
It is.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's 3 discs. I honestly still get more enjoyment out of 8 and 9. 9 is just better, period. But let's be honest, this is the game that made a lot of people get a PlayStation in the first place.
Yeah.
Myself included. I'm not gonna sit here and lie. As soon as 7 was announced, I picked one up, and I played a little bit of Wild Arms and some other, Twisted Metal while waiting for Final Fantasy. That one
made my list originally.
Did it?
Twisted Metal 2.
Yeah, that's fair.
I'll try to not do this all episode.
Yeah, we'll save some for the next episode. Yeah. But no, I honestly, it's the reason I bought a PS1. It's the reason a lot of my buddies bought one.
Yeah.
And then they realized how big of a library the damn thing even had, right?
Thousands.
When did this come out? It came out September 7th, 1997, so 9797.
That's cool.
Fun little fact for you. Yeah. Honestly, the build-up for like 8 months, this coincided with realistically everybody getting internet. So, and not just shitty dial-up, like people were starting to get broadband, and they could actually watch like embedded videos, and all like people were leaking all the summons and everything for this game, and it was just the hype building up to this for its release stateside was insane. It was massive.
You know what I like the most about that game?
What's that?
The sound.
Yeah, I mean, Nobu Uematsu.
Yeah.
Boy, did he come out running on this.
Just like awesome, very well composed music.
Yeah. The summon's amazing. The 10 frames per second full motion video blew our minds at the time.
It did.
Now, maybe not, but and also this is kind of on the eve, like a week from now, we're going to get Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, so you know when this was recorded. I can't wait for that game. 2 Blu-ray discs. Like, that's going to be the biggest game ever released. So, shock. It does it again. But Final Fantasy VII, that's my honorable mention. We don't need to ramble on about this game. Everybody knows it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Mine's a pretty quick one-off. It's Ace Combat 2.
Fair.
Yeah. The Ace Combat series started for me, they started on the PlayStation, and this one was released in August 21st of 97, made by Namco. This one is a true air combat sim.
Right.
Like, the controls are really tight. The graphics are awesome for PlayStation. Like, you never
Yeah.
thought Flight Simulator could look this good on a console.
Right.
Like, because before that, it was just a PC thing, Flight Sims.
Yeah, and like my experience with Ace Combat, I've only played a couple, but they, to me, tell me if I'm wrong here, they keep just a tiny bit enough of like arcade feel to make it fun.
Yes,
So it's
absolutely. Yeah.
not,
So,
flight
so
sim.
you're not, like, running out of fuel and having to land everywhere all
Right.
the time.
Okay.
This one has 24 fighters in it. You
Wow.
go through 21 missions, and sound is good. And you know what? You can play any Ace Combat game. It's basically the same thing.
Yeah.
Just the graphics get slightly improved, and
Okay.
it's just a really fun, like, combat flight sim, which
Awesome,
you'll
dude.
be hearing a lot from me because that's most of the ones I've played.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I feel that. Stay tuned. We might have a topic on that coming up.
I have a second honorable mention.
Yes.
Don't worry, there's only two.
Good. Good. Because we have a lot of lists to get through today.
So, released in 1995, this was an early PlayStation game. It was made by ReadySoft. It's a click-and-point game like Space Ace or Dragon's Lair.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm talking about Brain Dead 13.
Okay.
So you're this pizza delivery dude. You accidentally parked your car in front of, I forget, it's like almost a knockoff of Mother Brain in this game. Like,
Right.
that's the bad guy.
Okay.
And basically a bunch of ghouls and ghosts and skeletons try to, like, kill you whenever you misclick somewhere, because it's that type of game, right?
Okay.
And it's really fun. Like,
I have
it was
zero
one of the
experience with
earlier
this game.
it was one of the earlier games I've played. It's very much like, think Space Ace or Dragon's Lair. This is
Right.
that game, but a lot more morbid on the deaths.
Okay. I'm down. I'm down for that.
Yeah, Brain
Space
Dead
Ace
13.
is wicked, dude. Like,
Yeah, Space Ace is a lot of fun, especially when you beat it. Ugh.
Yeah, no kidding.
My number 5.
You're number 5.
Do you want to guess what it is?
Oh,
It's Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2.
that's number 5.
Yeah, and that's a great game.
That is a phenomenal game.
This was made by Neversoft, and everybody here knows the game I'm talking about. Like, awesome fucking fresh levels in this game. It's just a little bit more tight than the first one, because in this one you can manual, so you can link your moves and grinds manual and then grind again instead of just ending it
Right.
after jumping off a rail or something.
Which
And the songs. The songs
I mean-
are so memorable. I still listen to those tracks to this day.
they literally made 2 bands, like the one, the Superman song.
Goldfinger.
Yeah. They
Yeah.
honestly, this like the game release made them.
Yeah.
They were pretty much just ready to give it up.
Man,
And
like,
all of a sudden they're superstars.
I see people owning the music CDs for these two games too,
Oh yeah.
because they're so, like, such good tracks.
I mean, honestly, like, it's one of those, like life imitating art, art imitating life kind of thing. This is music lovers were brought into the game through the music, and this was like their first video game for
Yeah.
a lot of people. So,
Yeah, that's my number 5. Tony Hawk 2, really fun.
okay.
How about you? What's your number 5?
Mine is don't be shocked.
Okay.
It's a role playing game.
How many there are these on this console?
I mean, oh
A
god,
lot.
how many are on my list? Not all of them. It's Parasite Eve. So
I never heard of it.
this came out, I believe it was the next game after Final Fantasy VII, but the stark improvement in the like cutscenes and just the general graphics period was like, wow, okay, they clearly Final Fantasy VII was like an exercise for the Squaresoft guys. This was like their first successful job.
Okay.
Like you could see the improvement in every single way. The music was, I don't know, it just had this like New York City cop vibe. Like it's fucking awesome. And
Walking the beat.
yeah, like so there's no overworld. You jump into a car, like it's cutscenes in between where you're going.
Yeah.
But you have this main overworld map, and it's real New York. Like there's Chrysler Building, there's Central Park. It's normal, right? You have the plot takes place over like 6 days over Christmas of, I think it's 1997, and it's like December 24th to 29th. It's the 6 days, and those like the 6 chapters of the game. And it starts off with your Aya Brea, this like like no nonsense, quiet, almost protagonist. And easy on the eyes, right? And she's on
Okay.
a date
For
Christmas
PlayStation
Eve.
graphics.
Yeah, and she's on a date Christmas Eve with this like sniveling loser, and the opera singer like all of a sudden just, I don't know, evolves on the spot, and with her mind she like sets everyone in the building on fire, and it's like
That's
adult,
morbid.
it's graphic, and once that happens, that like everybody except for Aya and her date hides under the seats while she goes and confronts, and then it's just, I don't know. Anyway, it's a really cool like 3D turn-based system, but in between your turns you can run around freely so that you can get out of range of certain attacks. You can try to circumvent and go behind them so that you can get more
Still
attack.
advanced
You
for
can-
an RPG.
yeah, it's pretty advanced. It's pretty cool. And then your attacks, you have like 3 main, or I think it's 5 main types. You have like a shotgun, a pistol, a assault rifle, a grenade launcher, and then a rocket launcher. And each one has its own range, but power, like there's plus minuses and all that. So you got 5 different ways you can play the game. It's pretty cool. And then there's very super limited amounts of like super upgrades so that you can make like literally the best pistol in the planet kind of thing, right? The Desert Eagle instead of a 9mm. But you have to use these super tools to make it, so you have to choose which way you want to go through the game. So you got a lot of replayability too.
Okay.
This game's definitely up on my list. It's number 5.
Number 5.
Number 4, and I can't believe this is number 4. I'm more of a traditional platformer guy, but this one I gotta give it full props. It's made by Konami, October 1997. It was released on more than one system, but this is by far the best version. It's Castlevania Symphony of the Night.
Yeah, that was a good one.
This made people buy the system too.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but wouldn't this be technically the first game Konami makes that they release this game for consoles other than Nintendo?
Well, they had the Genesis with
Genesis.
Bloodlines. They had
That's
the
right,
PC Engine
Bloodlines.
with like the greatest Castlevania
I
ever
forgot
made.
about that one.
Rondo
Okay.
of Blood.
Yeah.
But this is the first Metroidvania. So every other game before this was straight line, but you could see this was coming. Like in Rondo of Blood, you can see multiple different paths you can take. In Castlevania Bloodlines on the Genesis, depending on who you play as, you have to take a different path through the level. You could see the direction they were coming, but this was
It's a great
like,
game. It looked awesome.
amped up
It was
to
different,
11, man.
Different feel than the other ones.
Yeah. Oh, like
Different
100%.
feel, different style.
This is a much more, you can take it at your pace. You can, if you want to go with short swords and like quick, or like the knuckles, which is how I always go, because you just literally like you just fuck
Punch your
up
way
everything,
through.
right? But you can also go like great swords or 2 short swords. But me, I always love the short little knuckles. You can
Knuckles.
take it. You can do magic. You can turn into a bat and just go over everybody. It doesn't. You can play this game any way you want, right? But it's a direct sequel to Rondo of Blood, which is my favorite Castlevania. So you have Alucard and Richter and Maria has turned into a lovely young lady, as opposed to a 12-year-old girl that's beating the shit out of everything with birds. But
Yeah.
it's just such a great game, man.
It is.
This game actually started off as a 32X project, and
Really?
thank God.
Yeah, that was a failed console.
Oh, thank God it didn't go out on that, man. I hate that system, but
32X did not have a lot of good games on it.
no. But so then you can beat this game.
Anyway.
You can beat this game once.
Yeah.
But you can also play as Maria, and she just makes the game broken. And then Richter, who, in comparison to his Rondo of Blood version, he is a beast in this game. And so it's a lot of replayability. I'm going to go on record right now and agree with our good Edmontonian friend, Mr. Adam Blank, that the Upside Down Castle is the stupidest fucking thing on the planet, and I don't care if you love it. It's dumb. It's a stupid way of making the game twice as long. It's dumb. But the game's awesome.
rant. Heat.
That's it.
Okay. My number 4. And ironically enough, I didn't even mean to put it here because of the title for it. But it's Mega Man X4.
Huh.
And this is like, it's another Capcom banger, made in 97. But this time around, you can pick from Zero or Mega Man.
Yes.
So you can be Zero and have the awesome lightsaber, or you can be Mega Man and have your Shoryukens or Buster. Whatever you want to call it.
And I like how they separated the control scheme. Like Zero is much more like Street Fighter style.
Yeah.
And X is
And this is the same
classic
thing.
Mega Man.
You just have more hunters you have to destroy, and then you have a secret
hey,
boss.
why break a right?
Yeah, why stop
Why break
good
a
recipe?
great recipe, man?
Yeah, like just awesome game. There's not really much else to say about this. The songs are good. There's a bit of a in-house techno feel to the songs this time around.
Yeah.
Like, they're not as like rocking as Mega Man X1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
So that's like the
you
one
can,
thing
you can
that's
see a focus shift. Like they
Yeah.
definitely wanted to embrace new technology and much bigger sprites, much more colorful game, right? So
Yeah. This goes over to PlayStation because before that, Mega Man was just a Nintendo product.
yeah.
So, other than the shitty one for
Why-
Sega Genesis.
It's not shitty. Every time you call Wily Wars shitty, I'm gonna call Ninja Gaiden 3 or Trilogy shitty.
No, 3 is shitty. Trilogy, how dare you, sir?
Trilogy is
Oh,
ass.
the music and
Controls
we
like
can't even
shit.
talk about that game right now, but
Controls like shit.
so God, anyway, that's my number 4.
We're
Thanks.
we're off kilter again. First frickin' episode of the day, and we're
What, do you want to hear my number 3 or?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so my number 3, I'll just cue the commercial right now.
We need a driver. We've heard a lot about you. You any good? Get in.
That is it. July 8th, 99, made by Reflections Interactive and published by GT Interactive. You escape the cops. I'm talking about Driver Man. You get into a car, you deliver shit, you do missions, you try to avoid getting fucking impaled by cop cars in this one. Man, I remember putting this in and loving going down that San Francisco street that's that you can
Fremont
jump
or whatever,
off of.
or free something.
Yeah. And like
someone in the comments will tell us that we're idiots.
And even like in some areas in like the suburban style neighborhoods, they have like small overpass bridges that you can just like air off of. The graphics are so good at the time for this. You can break down fences and shit. Like, this is a first for a lot. Before that, there wasn't really much breakable items in racing games,
No.
But in this, you can break down fences and a bunch of other shit. And it's just really good. This is like, to me, was like the first good feeling driving game, because I don't think, let's see, this is 97. I don't think I even played Gran Turismo yet, because I started on Gran Turismo 2.
No, this game inspired GTA 3.
Oh wow, really? Because like the controls and the feel on this one is really good.
It is good.
Yeah.
So it didn't inspire Gran Turismo. It inspired Grand Theft Auto.
Grand Theft Auto, yeah.
To totally shift from its overhead view to what it is now.
And I know that a lot of people are like, man, why wouldn't you just pick Driver 2? Because in Driver 2, it's the first one where you can get out of the car and go rob another car.
Yeah.
But Driver 1 just had more of a impact on me when it
Yes.
came out.
Oh yeah.
Just really, really good game. Really stupid fun,
I mean, we don't have enough time in the world to talk about this game. Really, we don't. So why don't we just make it my number 3?
Oh, really?
Developed by Reflections Interactive in July 1999. This Driver, You Are the Wheel Man, for the PlayStation.
Ah, Driver.
So you know what that means. We both picked it.
Yeah.
And we both put it at number 3.
Yes.
Be right back, everybody. Okay, we're back.
But I like how this game is also based on the movie The Driver that
Yes.
came out in the 70s, because that's a banger of a fucking
Well, yeah.
movie.
So you play as John Tanner, right? He was talking about San Francisco, but you also play in Miami. You play in New
yeah, a
York. You
couple
play in
other
LA.
levels.
Like you play in 4, not dead to rights accurate cities, but pretty
enough.
damn good for PlayStation 1. You have to like infiltrate a gang that is trying to assassinate the president. That's the story. So you slowly build up your trust as the driver, as the wheelman, to find all this out. If you didn't get past the tutorial in this game, by the way, we don't really blame you, because it's the biggest gatekeeping bullshit I've ever seen in a video game. It might be the hardest mission in the game, is the tutorial, because you have to do it all in 60 seconds.
Yeah.
It is not easy. Fuck that tutorial. But once you get, it's so worth putting in the grind and getting past it, because if you can pass the tutorial quite handily, you'll enjoy the game so much more.
Absolutely.
With all the options and the possibilities you can make in this game, it's so fun, because it's open world. You can drive around town doing shit fuck all if you want.
Yeah, which is what I spent a lot of time
doing. Like, I even cruise around for like 5 minutes, not breaking speed or anything, like stay into red lights, and then just pick my time and just wait for a cop to be right behind me, and then blow a red light and let's go. just to cause them to chase me around, right?
Yeah.
But this is the game that made me realize that a PlayStation is
pretty superior machine.
So it blew my mind, this game.
Me too. When this came out, this was I remember the first time I played this was at a Costco, and it was like one of those machines that like reset on a 2-minute or 3-minute timer, and that's what we did.
So you would turn around and go the opposite direction every 2 minutes, just so you could like try to find out more of the world. Yeah, man, I feel that.
Really good times.
My number 2.
Yeah.
It's not really an RPG. It's a Zelda killer, if you've never heard that term before 8,000 times. But this one, damn close. It was made by Matrix Software, January 1998. I am talking about Alundra.
I still have not heard of this game.
Okay, it's worth looking for it.
Okay.
Even though it's ridiculously expensive. So it literally is a top-down action-adventure, Zelda style. You do have a health bar, kind of like Zelda. It's diamonds instead of hearts. And it has the same idea, except it's like top-down platforming in some areas, and heavy on the puzzle solving. So
like kind of a Brain Lord for Super Nintendo?
Way better.
Okay.
Like, I understand, very kind of similar, but
similar. Okay.
So much better. The dungeons have like pillars that you can jump across. They have like mine carts, like the mine area, and you have a big mine cart puzzle. It's so much better.
Okay.
And I was just playing this the other day when I may or may not have found a way to put it on my PlayStation Classic that I got for $20 in a bin at a Walmart.
Nice.
The plot, I'm gonna tell you right now, it's pretty dark. So we'll just leave it at that.
Okay.
It's worth experiencing without knowing anything about it.
It's a dark puzzle-y RPG.
Yes.
Okay.
You're an elf. I'm gonna just generalize as much of it as I can.
And your name linked.
Your name is literally Alundra. So there is an L and an N, but you keep having these weird dreams, and they draw you onto this ship to go to this town you've never heard of or been to before. And of course the ship wrecks. You wake up on the beach. Stop me if you've heard this before.
Yeah, this sounds familiar.
It's Link's Awakening, pretty much. Except instead of going around and collecting musical instruments, you are going around and jumping into like terrorized townsfolk's dreams and helping them get out of their nightmares, because these nightmares are slowly killing them.
That is dark.
And it is dark, man. The main guy is he's just a tormentor. It's a really cool story. I like this game. The puzzle elements, so like jumping from pillar to pillar, it can be a little like the hit detection isn't perfect. The boss fights can be a little bit demanding and just punishing at times, but this game's worth it, man. It's so good. You got to try it. Okay. Alundra. That's my number 2.
That sounds like a pretty decent number 2.
It's the best Zelda-like on the PlayStation.
Okay.
So it's worth, that alone should be endorsement enough for you to try to find it and play it.
Do you want to hear this? It's kind of obscure, I find.
Kind of obscure.
It was released July 26 in 99, and I'm talking about Hidden and Dangerous.
I've never heard of this game.
So it's developed by Illusion Soft Works and Tarantula Studios. This game's set in World War II, and you have two different views. You can shoot in third person or first person.
That's ahead of its time.
Yeah, and you basically control 4 SAS operatives, and you go through 6 campaigns during World War II, shooting Nazis. But it's like just your typical like your Call of Duty game before there was a Call of Duty.
Or compared to what was out, like Medal of Honor, stuff like that.
Yeah.
This sounds pretty damn good, actually.
Yeah. Yeah.
The fact that I never heard of it is actually kind of surprising.
Yeah, and each operative that you control, you can you can switch from one guy to the next, and they all have different guns, so you can be a machine gunner or a sniper or whatever best suits your kind of playing style. So it was a really good shoot 'em up at the time. Anyway, that's my number 2.
Okay.
So my number 1, and this took me a bit. Like, I had to really think about this one. Okay.
Me too. You're not alone on this. Me too.
Because there's a lot of PlayStation games I really like that I erased, and then this even surprised me. I'm like, why this game? But I'm talking about Tekken.
Nice.
Released November 8, 1995, made by Namco. The composer Yoshi Arakawa. Holy crap! I love the soundtrack to Tekken.
And let's be honest, Sony needed that dagger because Sega was loaded.
Yeah.
And Nintendo, whatever, they didn't care. They had Smash.
PlayStation needed their first big arcade hit.
But they also needed one that was like exclusive.
Because the thing is, like, I remember going to like Cineplexes, or what would have been back then, Famous Players.
Yeah.
And
or Palladium or whatever.
You see Tekken right there, and you're like, holy crap, this game looks awesome. Because it's the first like nice looking arcade game. Because before that we had like Virtua Fighter 1 and 2, which is nothing like Tekken. I know that it holds like a good spot in some people's hearts, and that it was a first for a lot of things, which I'm not taking away from, but like, this is the first tight 3D game.
Yeah.
This is the first tight fighting 3D game. First good
I'll
one.
give you Virtua Fighter 1, but VF2? Come on, that was a fucking good game.
It is. It is.
Like Tekken brought that, like, almost like VF1 was like Mortal Kombat. It was just like, just hold down and uppercut and hope. You literally just brutalize each other to the point where you can hopefully get a fatality. Whereas Tekken had, it had seamless combos, and it did have great, like, way better defense. Like in Virtua Fighter, you just held back with whatever her name was there, Pai Mei.
Yeah.
You just held back, and hopefully you did a counter throw. But Tekken had a much more seamless combat style. That's
and what is it? You can pick from 8 fighters.
Yeah.
What is your favorite fighter that you picked?
The big-ass tiger, dude. Come on.
Oh, what is that? Lion?
I don't know. Batman. I need to... Batman's laying on my notes. I can't tell. I can't remember his name now. Oh. I'm not gonna... Okay, so I'm going to have full disclosure here. I was more of a Virtua Fighter and Soul Calibur guy. I didn't get to play as much Tekken. Even though Tekken 3 was pretty boss.
Yeah, Tekken 3 was really good. So like the tiger was King?
Tiger King.
Yeah. Well, I think his name
was just King.
Just King. And he was like your wrestler fighter.
Yeah. That's...
Mine wasn't actually him at all. I was a Yoshimitsu guy. The skeleton face guy with a sword.
Okay.
But yeah, dude, like, I had Twisted Metal on here. I'm not going to go into all of them. I had so many games written down, and the one thing that really surprised me about this one is that it was the first big arcade game for PlayStation, because PlayStation needed that. I remember feeling so baffled playing this on arcade because it felt awesome. And the fact that I could play this on a controller and it felt the exact same as an arcade game.
Yeah.
Like, I know I had that feeling before in the past with, like, Super Nintendo ports or whatever Nintendo ports, like...
I was pretty blessed with a lot of Saturn ports that were arcade
But this
perfect,
one, for me, this was the first, like, arcade... Because I never played Metal Slug on a Neo Geo. I never had any friends that had that, you know what I mean? So this was, like, the first big arcade game.
None of us had friends with a Neo Geo. Come on.
It's so damn expensive.
Nobody had that. But,
That's my number one, Tekken.
That's fair. That's an absolutely valid one.
And it could have been any. I'm surprised. It could have been Crash Bandicoot for fuck's sakes. You know?
The Spyro.
Yeah, Spyro.
I was really into Spyro. Boy, there's a lot of games that could have made this list.
Yeah.
Oh.
I don't want to spitball them all out because I do want to do a second part to this.
No, we're gonna do a second list. My number one that I eventually settled on, that I had a hell of a time settling on.
What is it?
January 1998.
98. Okay, so a little later in the console's life.
The guy that made the music would go on to make the music for one of my favorite games of all time. I don't think you're gonna get it. It's a tactical game.
Tactical game?
Turn
Ogre Battle?
Based. No, so Ogre Battle is an RTS.
Okay.
Tactics Ogre is a
Tactics
game,
Ogre?
which is the game this guy made before this one.
Oh, that's a Final Fantasy of some type.
Final Fantasy Tactics.
Yeah.
You got her.
Okay.
So it's a turn-based tactical RPG, but where this one differs is it brings in like active time mechanic. So
I like when games do that.
Individual players or characters on the board, because really it's a chessboard of sorts, that add in height. So you have a chessboard that has height, which can factor in who you can or can't attack. It has water. It has poison, bogs. It has mountain. It has certain places you cannot go. It has buildings. It has all sorts of factors for you to factor in. Right. It has the active time means each character individually acts on the board.
Yeah.
So unlike a Fire Emblem or a Shining Force, it where you have the whole side attack and then the whole enemy attack.
It could go back and forth.
Yeah, because in the whole player attack first, you can just pick on one guy and beat the shit out of him, right?
Yeah.
In this, so you, each individual character they have to worry about their individual action and what's going to happen around them. So it's just so much more to think about, which isn't overwhelming. Surprisingly, it's actually more fluid. So that's why I enjoy it. It's directed by Yasumi Matsuno, who made Ogre Battle, made Tactics Ogre, would go on to make Final Fantasy 12 and the whole Ivalice world that a lot of games are built around.
Yeah.
He also had a nervous breakdown making that entire world. So
I can't believe it's easy,
No. It focuses on the story. Essentially focuses on class differences, so like nobles and commoners, and then the clergy and how corrupt they can be, and it's pretty solid story. It's much more elaborate story than I remember ever seeing in a game up to this point.
Okay.
You have 20 main jobs, so Squire and Chemist are your main two base jobs, and then everything branches off of that. So you have your knights and your dragoons and all that would go off your Squire side, and then your wizards and your summoners and everything would go off the chemist side, right? You do definitely have broken classes like the samurai and of course the calculator. The calculator is the most broken class in the game, where they're very slow, but they can do actions based on math that could literally kill every enemy on the screen in one attack. They're broken.
That's nerfed.
So every action that you do, if you do a physical, a magical, an item, or an ability, you gain experience and job points. And those job points you can spend on learning more abilities or leveling up your class, so that you can then open up new classes to play with. 20 classes. It's a pretty elaborate
system. It can
system.
be a long game.
Not just that, you get so much replay out of it. And if that wasn't enough, there's a ton of guest characters, hidden guest characters that you can recruit. Cloud is in this game. Sid is in this game. His name is Orlandu, but they call him the Thunder God Sid, and he is fucking overpowered. It's unfair. You have Mustadio, who uses guns. Agrius, who is a piece of shit. Anybody that's played the game knows. You have height, you have terrain type, you have side or back attacks all factor in the percentage of how hard you're going to hit somebody. Like you get double attack from behind, you get 1.5 from the side, but also their ability to block your attack is greatly reduced if you hit from the side or from behind, right? If you use magic, it does it like it has an area of effect, and if your allies are in that area of effect, fuck them, they get hit too. So you have to think about that. You have to move your allies out of the way.
Some collateral damage.
There's all of it. It's so good. Friendly fire, absolutely. If you have an archer and your character's in the way, your character takes the damage. It's all perfect, man. It's such a great, and the soundtrack.
As is any other Final Fantasy game.
But this is over the top how good it is. I mean, Nobu is just excellent at what he does. He makes absolutely epic music. This was so perfectly tied to the mood of the game that it's better in my opinion. Like it may not be like bangers that you want to sit down and listen to on your sound system, but in the context of the game, it just works perfectly. Yeah. Nobody like Nobu could have stepped in and wouldn't have done a good job. This guy is so good, man.
Okay.
That's my number one by
That's
far.
praise.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for checking out our PlayStation Top 5 list.
Tune in for our next list when we when we have to add more and more and more.
I feel like this
we're gonna revisit PlayStation for sure.
Yeah, I feel like this is a train that's not gonna slow down.
We didn't even
soon.
touch a Gran Turismo. We didn't touch a fighting game.
GTA 2.
I honestly, there's so many options.
Anyway, see you next time, everyone.
Take care, and we'll hear from you again.